Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at Hop's WOOLOO, illustrated by Minami Take. Now the top corner looked pretty good. As I was examining the outer edge, I started to notice some discoloration, so I decided to take a closer look, and there was definitely some paint chipping. Now I know it may not seem too bad because it's under such intense magnification, but when something like this runs along the entire edge of the card, it starts to become very detrimental to the overall grade. The rest of the edge is pretty much in the same condition, so I'm going to show you all a few of my favorite cards illustrated by Minami Take. The first one being this Obsidian Flames ETB Charmander promo. Now this card has so many layers and I find it to be absolutely hilarious. And I love how this artist really takes the time to show their interpretation of what the Pokemon would be doing in the real world. So as we move along the bottom, instead of paint chipping like we saw on the edge, we can see a lot of exposed paper fibers. Now the bottom left was looking good until I turned the card to notice what could be some more exposed fibers. And upon further review, it turns out my suspicions were correct. And this edge is not looking good. It seems to be affected by the same problem as the other side. And I hope that when we turn this card around, it's not as bad. So Minami is also the illustrator behind this Blood Moon Ursa Luna SIR, which is another hilarious depiction of the Pokemon stealing honey from the bees. What an absolute legend. Now I don't know why, but I was hoping when we got to the top of this card that things would start looking better, but boy was I wrong, and I think I'm starting to see a theme for this card. Damaged edges. But before we take a look at the back, let's see if we can find anything with the black light. Now right here we're looking for roller lines, or small micro scratches that might not be as clear under regular light. The surface is looking pretty good so far. Absolutely no scratches or roller lines. So the last Minami card I want to show you is this Fracture, who's catching some alone time in the waterfall while the two Axu play in the background. This card looks like a family member who just needs a break. Alright, the front checked out pretty nicely. Now let's take a look at the back. And I see a little bit of damage already. A very slight micro tear, and I have no idea how it got there.
What?
This edge is looking pretty good so far. No paint chipping or edge whitening. Now right here is a pretty big problem. When I first saw this, I thought it was just a penny sleeve, but it turns out these are actually roller lines. And you can see some more here. Now don't worry, because that is the sleeve and that is a hair. However, this is edge damage. The bottom edge is looking pretty good. And if the rest of the card looked like this, this looks like an evil elf trying to take a bite of the card. And I don't know how it happened, but this card has the worst edges and corners we've ever inspected. Which is a shame, because it's a really cool card with some really nice artwork. Now the top didn't look too good either, and after we take a look with the black light, I'll give you guys my grade prediction. Now here are those roller lines we saw earlier, and you can see them running up to about the middle of the card. And I just wanted to be clear, you don't actually need a black light to see these. They show up just fine under a regular LED light. However, I have a black light and I think these look way cooler. So considering all the paint chipping, exposed fibers, micro tears, and roller lines, I think I'm going to have to give this card a final grade of an 8.